real quick. But anyway, I'm back. So yeah, kind of like what I was saying, man. Hey, it's getting crazy out here. It's getting crazy out here. So y'all see, man, they right now we trying to figure out what's up with these Epstein files. So you got Trump name. They're saying Trump name is in the Epstein files, according to the Department of Justice, which probably would make sense. See, and this is how they get you, right? They'll say, well, oh, well, Trump's name is in the Epstein files, but that makes sense because I'm pretty sure his name is on the flight logs. Now, I haven't looked all the way into the information yet because all the stuff I'm seeing is just headlines. They're not really going into specifics about like what his name is actually in, but they're right now saying that his name is in the Epstein files, but if his name is on the flight list, the flight log to Epstein Island, it would make sense for Donald Trump's name to be on the list. That's what I'm trying to say. So right now, today unsealed documents, we really don't know anything. Now, right here, according to the Wall Street Journal, it says the Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Who is many? They just saying he is. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what's so cold about politics. They'll never just tell you the full story. They know how to put the headline out there and then just run with it. Oh, well, the Department of Justice said Trump's name is among many. Okay, so now we have his name. Now, remember, I told y'all most people don't really care about the Epstein files. They just want to see if Donald Trump's name is on this list or not. So when it says among many others, who are the many others? Why is it only Trump's name that's being recognized? Because I'm not going to say it's a witch hunt, but it's just because that's all people care about. I'll just say that. I'll say that. So if they're able to find something on Trump, then shit, maybe they'll take him down. But right now, all this stuff is just speculation. But once again, the people really don't care about any of this because why won't they mention the name of anybody else who they feel like is in this are in these files? Then on top of that, Trump now they trying to, his administration is trying to distract everybody from the fact that his name is in it. So, they going after Barack Obama. But shit, they still have I feel like they still have a reason to go after Obama, whether it's a distraction or not, because did Obama do something? Yes. If Trump did what Obama did, people would be on his ass. They already called Donald Trump a liar. Oh, well, Trump lied about this. He lied about that. Like, come on. Come on. Like, real talk. If Trump sat here and made up frivolous accusations and he knew he did it, and people have been running with this for the longest. You know how many times I have been talking to folks, especially during the election cycle, they kept saying, oh, well, Trump is a Russian puppet. He colluding with Russia. I'm like, where you getting that information from? But we all know Hillary Clinton ran with that information in 2016, saying that Trump was colluding with saying that he was colluding with Russia. Then we find out it's not even true. Barack Obama and them just made that shit up so they could have a reason to take Trump down, which would make sense. You know what I'm saying? This is politics. That's what y'all got to remember. Politics is a dirty game. It's not clean at all. It's hard to hop into the game of politics and then leave with a squeaky clean hand. I don't care who you are. That's damn near impossible. You got to play the game, and the game is what? Being dirty. You got to have dirt on somebody's, on your political opponent. You got to have dirt on some of your allies to keep them in check. That's just the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? So right now, a lot of people are happy because I'm telling y'all, they looking for every reason to try to get Trump ass up out of there. Now, you know me, I'm one of them folks. I'm like, well, look, man, Trump name on the list and his name on the list, but that right now you have to prove it. Like right here it says, President Donald Trump was told in May back in May by Attorney General Pam Bondi that his name appeared multiple times in Department of Justice documents about sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday. Trump's meeting with Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche at the White House occurred weeks before the Department of Justice, which Bondi leads, said on July 7 that it would not release the Epstein files despite earlier promises by Attorney General and others in the president's orbit that the material will be disclosed to the public. Now, they haven't done so yet, and it says the president was also told at the meeting that many other high-profile figures were also named in the Epstein files and that the files contained what officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump. So again, if you read in this list and they saying the Department of Justice saying Trump name on the Epstein files, They never tell the rest of the story. It just says Trump name on the Epstein files among others. Who are the other people? I need to know the full story. That's why I keep saying I hate the media sometimes, because they can never really just they have to play the game, which is necessary. I get it. You know, you got to be able to have a misleading headline, so you can be able to bring the people in, so they can be able to read or watch whatever program that you have. But if somebody tells me, hey man, you know what, Rich? I'm like, what happened? Man, you know, they found Trump name among the Epstein files and many other people. I'm like, okay, well, who are the many other people? Shit, I don't know. I just know many other people. I'm like, well, like, how do we do this? So Trump name is on the list, but who is the many other people? I need to know who that is. You can't just tell me it's just Donald Trump. So that's the part where I'm having the issue with it, because they only will put Trump's name in there. As I just read to y'all, it says that a lot of this stuff is they're believing is hearsay, with Trump's name being on the list, as well as whoever many other people are. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. And then you see what's going on. What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up, everybody that just hopped in my live? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? And then even on top of that, like, we see what's going on between Barack Obama and Donald Trump. So if you would have asked me, now if I want to be a cultist, I could just say, okay, well, they're going after Trump, but we know the reality of the situation. They're going after Trump. Trump is trying to distract them by going after Obama, which I feel like is still necessary, because Obama did create a lie and ran with a lie against Trump. Everybody knows this. But if Trump had done, like, remember when Trump was saying that Barack Obama wasn't born in America? What up, what up? What up to the folks that just came to my live? What's up, what's up, what's up? If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my page, man. We're going to be talking for a little minute. But remember when Trump was going at Obama originally, he was saying that he wasn't born in the United States, saying he was a Muslim and all this stuff. These were lies that were propped up by Trump to just, you have to put something out there to throw the voters or throw the people. That's just part of politics. You're not just gonna get out there and completely tell the truth. Last person who did that was John McCain, and he lost the election. You see what I'm saying? You got to play the game. When he made up those lies about Obama, they ran with that. Oh, with Trump lied about the birth certificate. Trump lied and said that Obama was born in another nation, but people just refused. This is what I mean when I say, like, a lot of the Democrats are in the cult. They refuse to acknowledge the fact that the Steele dossier, that the fact that everybody kept saying that Trump was colluding with Russia, he was a Russian puppet. They refuse to acknowledge that it was made up. They have the documents that prove Obama made this up and ran with it. Gave it to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton took the baton and ran with the same myth. Passed it on to Biden. Biden ran with the same myth. It was no election interference going on. Trump did not collude with Russia, but for whatever reason, the Democrats continue to run with Trump did this, Trump did that. So I still feel like Trump has an argument. He has an argument about what Obama did. Now, can Obama be prosecuted? I don't think so. I think Obama is I think he's protected by a law or something that say, like, well, they can't go after the president after he served his term or something. I got to look into that. I'm not all the way sure, but it's like, man, the game is dirty. The game is dirty. And so many people, like black people, since they hate Trump, they're willing to say that Donald Trump is dirty, a dirty politician, but they won't say the same about Obama, because Obama's the first black president. But it's like, come on, man, we could do this all day. We saw what Obama did to Libya. We saw Obama deport thousands of people in the immigrant community. If you look at any of the news stories, what's up, everybody that hopped in my live? What up, what up, what up? If you're not following, make sure you follow me. Subscribe to my page. But if you look at anything that Obama did, Libya, he used NATO illegally to invade Libya, to overthrow Gaddafi, because Gaddafi was trying to unify the continent of Africa, where everybody was using one currency. If you look at Africa, a lot of the countries, they use different currency. One might use an African dollar, Nigerian dollar, British pound, euro, franc, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Gaddafi was looking at it like, instead of doing that, we could just use our own dollar, kind of like the United States. So to compare that to the United States, that would be like if all 50 states used a separate currency in the United States. That's how Africa is. So he was like, hell no, we use I think they won't call it like the African dinar, DINAR. If we're able to unify Africa and use our own money, we don't need the West, We don't need Europe. We don't need Britain. We don't need none of those people. So what happened? France caught wind of that. They hit up Hillary Clinton, which is Obama's Secretary of State at the time. Hillary Clinton hit up Obama and let him know what was going on, and they decided to instigate the civil war going on in Libya, fund terrorist groups, and use NATO to illegally invade Libya, destroy Libya. I'm on TikTok. On YouTube. So I don't have to say unalive. Kill Gaddafi, turn Libya into a failed state for the next 15 years. If you check out Libya, how Libya was before Gaddafi, during Gaddafi, and after Gaddafi, what you'll notice is Libya turned into a failed state after Gaddafi was killed. You know, everybody claim they hate slavery, but after Obama killed Gaddafi, slavery started running rampant in Libya. It turned into a failed state, unstable governments. And when Barack Obama was asked what was his biggest regret as president, he said killing Gaddafi, because it made Libya unstable. So he's not an innocent. He's not this innocent politician that everybody think he is for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And you got to remember, Barack Obama dad from Kenya, so he's African by blood. So he should have felt some type of way about that, but he didn't. You get what I'm saying? He didn't care about that. So that's one of the things that people always use against Obama. You know, when he was deported illegal immigrants. Right now, people have such revisionist history. They'll sit here and say that, you know, oh well, Obama, he was deporting illegal immigrants humanely. They love saying that. He wasn't just going after innocent people who were working at jobs and contributing to the United States. He went after the criminals. And then it's like, I could tell you that's a lot right now, because what ended up happening was a lot of people in the immigrant community out in Arizona, I'm gonna say Texas and California, they were protesting against Barack Obama. The same rhetoric that they use against Trump, where they say Trump is scaring the immigrant community, he's going after the wrong people. They literally said the same thing about Barack Obama. It got so bad with Obama that people were going on hunger strikes. So if Obama is deporting people in a humane way, why are you going on a hunger strike? Because it was something going on. They didn't like how Obama was deporting people. Now folks have such revisionist history. We got to remember who created the cages to put the illegal immigrants in the cages. It wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't Joe Biden. It was Barack Hussein Obama. Everybody knows this. But for whatever reason, people choose to excuse the fact that Obama did this. Obama put the illegal immigrants like it's a steel cage match. Put them in the cage. You seen little babies at the cage crying, tears in their eyes. But who did that? That was Obama. So like I say, people have such revisionist history that since Trump is in office and, you know, he's the one who's, you know, going above and beyond with the illegal immigration, it's just easy to blame him right now. And then we just say, well, Obama's the man. He did this. He's a great person because he was the first black United States president. So he's able to just get away with a lot of stuff. Just honest to God. Like, look at it like this. If Donald Trump deports illegal immigrants out of the United States, they could call him a white supremacist. They could call him racist. They could call him a rich billionaire asshole. They could use these adjectives to describe Donald Trump. But then when you have a black president that's in office who's deporting illegal immigrants, you cannot call him a racist. You can't call him a white supremacist. Why? Because he's black. His history shows that his people have been oppressed. Now, not the white side of his family, but the black side. If your ancestors are in Africa, more than likely they were oppressed because of colonialism. If you're in the United States, they've been oppressed because they were turned into slaves in the United States, forced into slavery. So they can't say a black man is an oppressor. That's how that works. So if I was the president of the United States right now, I ran as a Democrat, and now, you know, I'm an American descendant of slaves, ADOS, and I come in and I say, okay, I want to get these illegal immigrants out of the United States. I'm going to deport them, put them in cages. Only thing you could call me is an asshole. You wouldn't be able to call me racist. That's not going to stick, because as soon as you say racist, a black man racist? Hell no, nah, black man can't be racist in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? That's where they go with it. That's how the Democrats were able to play that game. You couldn't just call Obama these same adjectives that you use towards Trump. Even when he went after NATO illegally, not NATO, even when he went after Libya illegally, you can't use that. So that's the part where how the Democrats kind of played that game a little bit. But now you can't say that he's responsible for making up these lies on Trump. And that's politics. And this is the crazy part. I'm not even mad about the situation, because I understand this is what politics is. People gonna lie on each other. They gonna throw dirt on each other's name. They're gonna expose secrets. They're gonna do anything to make you look bad. Right now, Trump looks bad. No matter no matter what good he did in the United States, no matter what type of deals he secured for the United States, this Epstein situation is casting a shadow on his presidency that he can't, for whatever reason, escape until the files come out. Now, if the files come out and his name isn't on the list, people are gonna be mad. If the files come out and his name is on the list, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be ready to get him impeached, even though he hasn't done. Even though he hasn't done anything. So that's why I'm like, I see the game that they playing. Like, the only thing I can say is welcome to politics. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can say. Welcome to politics. Now they're gonna have more information about, you know, what's going on with this Russian hoax nonsense that they talking about, but you know how it is. You know how it is. I just want everybody to know Barack Obama is not a saint. Please do not believe Obama. I mean, you could just look certain things up about Barack Obama. Did he have the most drone strikes in United States history? Yes. Was he able to win the Nobel Peace Prize in the process? Yes. Which is almost like a oxymoron, but I'm pretty sure the same thing is gonna happen with Trump. Like, you get what I'm saying? Did he go after Libya illegally? Yes. Has he unalived innocent American citizens? Yes. When he was dropping his drone strikes, go look it up. It was somewhere in one of those Middle Eastern countries. As he was dropping all those drone strikes, some American citizens not military soldiers, just innocent American citizens that were staying in the Middle East. They were caught up in some of the crossfire. They got killed. It just happens. But if you make the argument to somebody who's an Obama supporter, they just gonna call it collateral damage. And I'm like, okay, we'll tell that to the family members. See, we had the ability as a citizens to just talk from the outside looking in. We don't have to explain to the family like, yeah. Like, imagine the family come up and you looking like, yeah, your son got killed on accident because I was dropping so many drone strikes. So it's just collateral damage. It would look like, what? Come on. Come on. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. But I mean, we'll see where to come of that situation. Right now, it's a lot of stuff out there. Mike Johnson called the recess early for the Congress. So I want to say recess is supposed to start in, was it September? No. It was supposed to start in August, but I want to say he called it like a week early, so they won't reassemble again until like September, and then they're gonna try to go ahead and get these Epstein files released. Hopefully, you know, politics, they play all type of games. Hopefully, but another thing people been talking about too is I wonder if y'all seen this. Have y'all seen this video of William McNeil Jr. getting beat up by the police? Has anybody seen that? I looked at it. I just want to say this. I want to say this. When I first saw the video, I was like, damn, I can't believe the police did him like that. Bro wasn't doing nothing. He just sitting in the car, you know, asking questions. They broke the window, punched him in the face, threw him to the ground. They did all type of crazy shit. I'm like, man, what the fuck? What is that? But then, this the crazy part. Something in my eye. That's why I keep rubbing my eye, y'all. Something's in my eye. I don't know what it is. But this the crazy part. The police body cam footage shows something completely different. And this is the problem that I'm having. And I watched the press conference that they had earlier today. William McNeil Jr., Ben Crump is his civil rights attorney, and his family. Here's the problem that I'm having with this situation. Now, I'm trying my best. To find fault in the police. So I'll just say this. The police shouldn't have punched him in the face. They shouldn't have thrown him to the ground. And they were probably just upset about him, you know, asking for the supervisor and not doing what was requested of him. But when you look at the police body cam footage, the one officer, not all of them, but the original officer who pulled him over, when you look at the footage, somebody have to tell me, what did he do wrong? You know what I'm saying? They hate when black people, like, not theirs in the police, but like the media, they hate when black people kind of justify when the police does this. But I'm looking at the video and I'm like, okay, so they pull you over. Then they ask you, they say, no, you open your, okay, they pull him over, he opens up the door. And remember, the police didn't approach him in a threatening manner at all. If you feel like the police was threatening towards him, then I don't know, I guess y'all never seen a threatening police officer. So he opens the door and the police is like, is there any reason why you open the door? Because, you know, really, you're supposed to wait till the police pull up and then you let the window down. He said, he opened the door. He said, well, look, my window don't work, so I decided to open the door. Can you tell me what you pulling me over for? The officer said, well, you didn't have your lights on when it was raining, and you didn't have your seatbelt on. I don't know how he saw the dude's seatbelt not being on, but that's what he said. So William McNeil responds, it's daytime outside. What I need my lights on, which makes sense. It's daytime. Why do you need your lights? And then he said, I forgot what he said about the seatbelt, but after getting into a back and forth, damn, something in my eye. After getting into a back and forth about what he was being charged with, William McNeil Jr. and a police officer, the police just said, look, man, I'm not about to go back and forth with you. Like, I've already told you what I pulled you over for. Can you please give me your license, registration, and proof of insurance? Now, at that moment, if I'm in the car, I'm saying, whoop, whoop, they pulled me over. All right, officer, what's going on? Yes, we got you for your lights not being on and your seatbelt not on. Okay, officer, okay. All right. I might be like, but hey, it's sunny outside. What I need it's daytime. What I need my lights on for? Well, you know the ordinance say if it's raining or drizzling, you need to have your lights on. All right, officer. All right, you got it. You got it. Then when he says license, registration, and proof of insurance, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm finna reach for it. Is that all right? Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna go get my license, registration, and proof of insurance because I have nothing to hide. So then he gonna go through, look through my license. My license gonna be good because I don't have a suspended license. He's gonna see the cars in my name, and then he's gonna see that I have insurance. So I would have to ask, and something in my eye, y'all. My bad. It's something really in my eye. That's why I keep rubbing my eye. I would have to ask, why didn't William McNeil Jr. provide the documents that were requested? Why won't you show the documents that were requested? That is the issue that I'm having. You're not telling the story correctly, compliant. There won't be problems. He was compliant. That's literally what happened. He walked up to him. He opened the door. He asked him, why are you opening the door? And he said, because my window doesn't work. And then he asked the officer, what was he being pulled over for? The officer said, because his lights were not on and his seatbelt wasn't on. William McNeil Jr. didn't like what he was told. They got into a back and forth. The police officer said, okay, well, I'm not about to keep arguing with you. Give me your license, your registration, and your proof of insurance. That's literally how it went down. He decided not to give the officer his license, registration, proof of insurance. He closed the door in his face, locked the door, told him, go get your supervisor. So, the police called for backup. So once again, my original question to William McNeil Jr. would be, why didn't you give the documents as requested? Because that's what I would do. I done been pulled over plenty of times. I done got tickets for jaywalking. I've had tickets for my windows being too dark, the tent being too dark. I've had tickets for texting and driving, and every time I ain't even go back and forth with the officer. I got the documents that was requested, gave it to him. Everything showed that it was in my name, license good, and the insurance up to date. Took the ticket, took that shit to the courtroom, and the judge threw it out. That's how you handle that. That's how you handle that situation. You don't get into the back and forth with who told y'all to argue with the police? Like, you not no Karen? That's the part I don't understand. Like, y'all to get out here and act like y'all a Karen when you could just talk to the police crazy. Nah, bro, you not a Karen. You still black in the United States. When they ask you for your information, you give it up. You give it up. Simple as that. Boom, there you go, officer. Go on about your business. You see what I'm saying? Instead of arguing with the officer, you argue at the court. You go to court and you argue with the judge. You tell the judge, look, judge, the day I was pulled over, it was sunny outside. I didn't think that I needed to have my lights on. It was no reason to. The officers didn't even have their lights on. What up, Zell? What up? That would have made way more sense than that shit that he did. So I feel like William McNeil Jr., he let his ego get the best of him for whatever reason, and then come to find out he was driving on a suspended license. Come to find out he had some weed in his pocket. So that's the part where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. But it made sense why he chose to do so, because he was riding dirty. If I'm in the car with William McNeil Jr., I'm one of his homeboys, we in the car chilling, be like, man, come on, bro. Give up the ID. Give up the documents. Give up your ID, give up your insurance, give up your registration. You're only not giving it up because you're doing something wrong. That is the issue. So now when they get on the news and they tell this story, because like I said, I watched it this morning. I watched the press conference. They showed the this is how they did it. They showed the footage of William McNeil from his point of view. What we had the camera up there and we got punched in the face and drug out the car. They're showing that. Then when they show the police footage, they don't show the part where the police is asking him for the documents. They just show the part where they already pulled him out the car. So I understand the game that they trying to play, but I'm going to keep saying, who taught y'all to argue with the police? Who told y'all to do that? Now, we know in some cases, they said that they lied on the police report, and they might have. I haven't looked at the police report all the way, but that part don't even matter. The part that matters is when they ask you for the documents, you show the documents and you go to court and you argue that, bro. It doesn't make sense. Everybody knows, especially if you were raised in a black household, everybody knows this. When you get into it with the police, you do what they say because the main objective is to do what? Make it home. That's all this is about. You want to be able to make it home, not waste time arguing with the officers. Don't have the hearing don't argue with the officer while you being stopped. I'll be like, man, give me that shit. Go about my business, dog. Listen, I'm dealt with the police plenty of times. This ain't nothing new. He had an ego problem though, but his ego was because he knew his license was suspended. This is all this is about. Now, did he need to be punched in the face and thrown to the ground? Hell no. Like, oh, that was unnecessary. But we know the police mad. A lot of police officers are bitches in real life. You know what I'm saying? They have they have ego problems. So if they telling somebody what to do and someone defies it, that upsets them for whatever reason, because they get to hide behind the badge. But like when you check a lot of these police officers, these dudes been and got bullied in high school, and like, you know how it is. They really be like failures in life. Not all, but a good majority of them. And then they mad at the sheriff because the sheriff got out there and said, he didn't really condemn his officers like that. But I'm like, bro, I'm black. I've been black my whole life. I'm trying to find where the police did something wrong outside of punching him in the face and dragging him out the car. Because at what point does he get out the car? He done closed the door, locked the door, so they can't even open the door to get him up out of there. So what is the next step? What does their training say? Do you just wait outside and call for backup and you keep talking to him outside the car? He won't get out the car, so they can't do their job at all. So if he does call his supervisor, whoever the supervisor is, I guess it's the chief of police, the lieutenant, I don't know. And then they pull him and they show up. Do you get out the car? I'm just confused on this because people start to act crazy when the police pulls up for whatever reason. I don't know if y'all ever been around people that get pulled over by the police. Motherfuckers get to acting crazy, talking to the police. I'm like, man, come on, man, cut that shit out. I done been in the car with some of my homeboys, and they do that shit. Police pull up, and they get at the police officer all type of attitude. I'm like, man, look, you don't have to. I ain't saying you got to be, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I ain't saying you have to do all that, but it's just like, but when the police pull you up, just getting what they want so you can get out of the way. This is all this about. I guarantee you. Well, I can't even say that because they say he was driving on a suspended license. So I don't know what would happen. Like, would they have towed the vehicle once they found out his license was suspended? But it's like, I've been in those situations. That's why I ride clean. That's why my insurance is good. I make sure insurance is up to date. Vehicle in my name, and I already know my license isn't suspended. So I'm gonna just give it up. But then when they go in his pocket, they find he had weed. He probably should have tossed the weed before they pulled you over. It's just, I don't know, man. I feel like he really instigated that situation on himself. He asked for a supervisor. Yeah, he did. They pulled him over for no headlight, but theirs wasn't on either. Yeah, but that's the police. That part don't even matter. You argue that in court. That's where the issue comes in there. So if you get pulled over and they say, well, sir, you need your headlights on. And this is what I would say. I'm like, but man, y'all headlights ain't on. Well, it don't matter. Okay, cool. At that point, all right, bet. It's all good. Just give me my ticket so I can go. That's how I talk to the police. I just want my ticket. Sir, do you know why I have you pulled over? Hell no. Just give me my ticket. It don't even matter at this point. No. If you need me to step out of the car, I'll step out. Ain't nothing in my car anyway. I don't smoke weed and drive. I don't think I got is my gun, and that's legal. It's in my name. I got my registration in my pocket if you need to see it. Yeah, I got the pistol on me. So outside of that, it's like, what you arguing for? That's the part I don't understand. You don't argue that, and you don't argue that with the police. You take that shit to court. I'm trying to tell y'all, the judge more than likely will throw that shit out, especially if you don't have any priors and you just a regular civilian, and you could, because he could have gone. Let me tell you how crazy this is. Exactly, mixed swag. You just avoid the conflict. Like he instigated the conflict, and I'm not saying that made him deserve to get punched and thrown to the ground, but if the same way people are saying that, well, the officers didn't have their lights on either. When you get that ticket and you go home and you say, damn, I got to go to court in about 2 weeks, all you got to do is tell the judge the same thing. Well, Your Honor, I've never heard of this law in my life. When the police pulled me over, it was sunny outside. They didn't have their lights on. Go. The best thing to do is go pull the temperature. What time did you get pulled over? Go and type in what was the temperature on Saturday, July 15th at 4 p.m. Was the sun out? It just show the court. Well, Your Honor, the time I got pulled over, according to the weather, it shows that it was sunny outside and it was a light drizzle. I did not know that I had to have my lights on, and when the officers pulled me over, they didn't have their lights on as well. I swear to God, the judge probably gonna be like, okay, William McNeil, you don't have any priors. You don't really get into trouble at all. Look, well, this is the rule right here. Now, when it's raining, no matter if it's sunny or not, you must have your light on, whatever the rule is. But we gonna throw it out. I remember the court told me that shit. When I remember I got that jaywalking ticket. I'd never forget. And I was young. I got a jaywalking ticket, and I got stopped by a black police officer, and she walked up to me. But it was crazy because I thought she was about to come get at this dude because this dude was arguing with this woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm downtown Atlanta, so it'd be all type of crazy stuff going on downtown. I'm thinking the officer, she about to walk up to the dude and get at him, and she stopped me. I'm like, man, what the hell I do? I'm just over here chilling. She like, well, sir, you a jaywalker? I'm like, jaywalking? I'm like, y'all give out tickets for jaywalking? She's like, yeah, we do. We give out tickets. I'm like, come on, bro, I ain't even dead. I done walk across. She was like, sir, you gonna have to take this ticket for the jaywalking. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm not gonna argue with no police. Got the jaywalking ticket. I went to court. The judge looked at me in the face. I was in college at the time. He said, man, you don't have no priors. You look like you're a good student. You're a good person with common sense. Listen, we made crossing the street over there a penalty for jaywalking because a lot of people had been hit by cars and they were dying because it was like a little hill where it's blinded. So, you know, sometimes you can't see down the hill until you creep up on it. So if you speed and you wouldn't see somebody. So he said that's why we put it there that's considered jaywalking because we had people lose their lives right there. But he said you look like a smart, honest man, so I'm gonna just throw this ticket out. I was like, appreciate that, Your Honor, and walked off. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. All this arguing with the police is unnecessary. I had to learn that my damn self a lot. What up, gaming edits? What up? A lot of it is just ego. It's just ego. Hell yeah, you can always talk politics. That's what we're here for. Policing is a hard job, and being combative will alert police to possible danger. Police are allowed to use force yeah, it is. It is a difficult job. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know. Like for instance, here's a prime example about how policing is a difficult job. When the officer walked up to William McNeil, most people keep their door closed and you let the window down. So you notice when the door opened. When the door opened, what did the officer say originally? He said he stopped. He said, what you open the door for? And then that's when William McNeil Jr. said because his window doesn't work. Because the police officer don't know if the dude about to open the door and get to shooting. You get what I'm saying? You see how quick that can happen. What if William McNeil would open the door and then just start shooting at the officer right then and there? Now, of course, he said his window wasn't working, so it made sense. But it's just like that split moment right there could have cost the officer his life because he didn't know what was going on. And he still, for anybody out there who is living in denial, the police officer, the original officer, was not aggressive towards William McNeil Jr. at all. There was not an aggressive tone in his body. Now, he may have been like, well, look, I'm not about to go back and forth with you. This is what we charging you with. But it didn't, like, if I saw that, it to me, that seems like a police officer just being stern. They got to deal with people all day. That seems like an officer being stern. That's all. He didn't call him any names. He didn't be like, bitch, get out the car. You dumb motherfucker. Like, he ain't get to, sometimes police officers get to talking like that. You dumb motherfucker. Get your ass out the car. You didn't listen. Man, when William McNeil closed the door, he pulled at the door, and he couldn't get it open. He didn't try to break it. He didn't do nothing. He stepped back. We have a what do you say? Not unresponsible. I forgot the term used, but a belligerent adult male. I need backup, and we're going 25, 75, whatever. And the other officer pulled up, and then that's when it went to the next level. But before that, I'm trying to tell y'all, I understand he shouldn't have been punched in the face, kneed, and thrown to the ground. I get it. But he instigated that situation. For anybody out there, especially if you are a black person, when you're being pulled over by the police officer, the goal is to make it home, not argue with the police all day. Take your ticket, shut your mouth, go to court, argue in court, and you have a higher chance of it getting thrown out. A lot of time, these police officers just pulling people over just to fit a quota. That's all it is. I remember one time I got pulled over because I had a BMW a 430i. Anybody know about that? It's a Grand Coupe, the one with the four doors. I was pulling into where I stayed at. When I bought the vehicle already possessed tinted windows. I still remember the officer pulling me over. I'm like, what? He pulled me over, come with the flashlight. It's in the middle of the night. It's like 10 at night. He come with a big flashlight shining in the car. I told him straight up I have no change in my tone. I said, officer, I don't got no drugs and nothing in here. He just flashing his lights. I ain't got nothing in here. He said, license and registration, please. Gave it to him. He went back to the car, typed it in on the computer, came back, and he just looked at me. He said, well, so I pulled you over because your windows are 210. I said, my windows 210? I said, man, I drive this car every day. I ain't never heard an officer. It's an officer that live in my building where I'm going in right now. Well, cause he pulled me over right when I pulled into my the driveway of my condo. And I said, man, when I bought this vehicle, the tint was already like this. I didn't go make it darker. And he's like, well, yeah, you can't really have your windows tinted like this. And then that was it. He didn't even give me a ticket. He just walked off, and I was just like, all right, man. I'll try to get my tint though. I'll try to get my tint lighter. I didn't know. And he's like, all right, man, you take care. He was an Asian dude. Went on by this day. Did I get a ticket? Hell nah. I just told him I was gonna change the tint. Never changed the tint. Still drove the car with the same dark tint. Never got pulled over again. I felt like he maybe needed to meet a quota. That's why he pulled me over. But that's how you handle that situation. You don't go back and forth with the officer. I remember another time. I give you another example. I was on the interstate, I-85. It was in the middle of rush hour traffic. It was like 5 p.m. I had my phone in my hand. I'll never forget I was driving. And it wasn't really in my hand. It was like in my lap. It was in my hand, but in my lap under the steering wheel. And I remember the police officer pulled up next to me. And it was a black police officer. And I had my windows down. And I had them all the way down because I was playing my music. And he pulled up in the motorcycle. And he looked at my car. I'll never forget this. Like, he looked down in the car and saw that I had my phone in my hand. And then he pulled me over. Black officer. I'm like, man, come on. So he walked up to me like, you know why I pulled you over? Nah, I don't really know why you pulled me over. Well, you know, you were texting and driving. I'm like, texting and driving? I said, nah, I just had my phone down here. He was like, you can't have your hand on your phone at all. It has to be on the hands-free device. I'm like, dang, I ain't even know it. So I'm just sitting back, chilling. He come back. He give me the ticket. I show up to court. I took an Uber to court, and I remember when I got to the courtroom, this is what the judge told me. Well, not even the judge. This is what the what do you call it? The clerk, secretary. I don't know if anybody been to court, but you know, before you go to court for like a traffic ticket, it's like a clerk, secretary person up there. They ask you. I forgot what she asked me, but essentially what she told me was, she said, well, look, she said, you have a ticket for texting and driving. What you can do is you can go to Amazon and order you a hands-free device. This is what the clerk at the courthouse told me. She said you can go order you a hands-free device and then reschedule your court date. Show up on the rescheduled date with the hands-free device, and the judge will throw it out. That's exactly what I did. So I said, okay, I'll do that. I went and ordered the hands-free device off Amazon. Went back to my new court date. Showed up to the judge. I said, look, judge, here's my handheld device. He threw it out. Okay, sir. Threw it out, didn't get a ticket, didn't get any points taken off my license, went on about my day. I'm just saying, it's ways that you handle this. That's all. I'm gonna keep saying he let his ego get the best of him, and he didn't handle that in the best way possible. Trump going to live forever. Trump's going to learn how to fly. Trump's going to make it to heaven with Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, may I tell none? You can say whatever. Are you a Trump or a Kamala guy? I fuck with Trump. The only thing I don't like about Trump right now is, even though I know he feel like even though he feel like he should ignore this Epstein situation, I just feel like you need to go ahead and provide whatever evidence possible. If you can get the documents unsealed, go ahead and show the world, because what you don't want, and he might not care. These are politicians. Most politicians could give a fuck about a legacy, to be honest. But if you care about your legacy or your second term, it's currently being overshadowed by Epstein. So you could end the war in Ukraine. You can help put money in American citizens' pockets. You can grow the economy. You can grow the job market. Nobody cares about any of that stuff until you show this Epstein paperwork, because that's the only thing people care about right now. That's it. That's it. What up, big dog? He's a big old phony. He might be. Most of these politicians are phony. I ain't met a politician yet that wasn't phony. Every single one of them phony. Like every single one. So I wouldn't even be mad if somebody said that. Most politicians, they kind of like with Joe Biden and Obama. One minute they dislike something, but then they will make it a part of their campaign to be able to secure votes. So everybody knows, for instance, Trump, Joe Biden, they used to be anti-LGBT. If you look up Obama before he ran for president, he was not a fan of gay marriage. He was not a fan of none of that stuff. But when he began to run for president, you have to be able to secure votes. So what do? Oh, well, that's easy. You have to pander to certain crowds to get them to vote for you. Everybody does that. That's called being a politician. For sure, the left and the right, what they say, two wings of the same bird. That's all it is. Ben Crump should have done a better discovery before taking the case. It does look like a money grab, like, because I'm saying, and even as a black person, I've seen police brutality. I've been pulled over by the police. I'm just like, when I'm looking at that shit, I'm like, that's not it right there, bro. That's not it. I could see if it did not, okay, right here, I could see if he said, okay, so we need you to show your license, registration, proof of insurance. And then when he showed it to him, they came back, tossed his ass out the car, got to beating him and stomping him. Okay, I'll be like, that's police brutality all day. But the fact of the matter is, should he have been punched and thrown to the ground? I'ma always say no. But should you have complied when the police officer asked for those documents? The answer is yes. That is how that works. You give up those documents. He put his life in danger. He escalated the situation. He gave him attitude. He gave him his ass to kiss. That is how that happened. You gonna close the door and the officer fake, man, call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. Close the door. I ain't showing nothing. I'm like, what? Come on, man. Come on. That's the part where, because I can only imagine being in the car with him. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what you doing? Show these people the documents, bro. We not trying to get killed in the car. You crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me all day. Cause see, I understand this. I was taught as a kid. Like once I started driving, my mom and dad, they taught me the same thing. You comply with the officers, give them what they ask, give them what they ask for, cause everything good. When I was first getting my car, my license was good, registration was good, my insurance was good. It's no reason for me to not give it to them. What would be? And that's why I would want to ask William McNeil, like, why didn't you give it to him after they told you what you were being pulled over for? It was no reason for you to take it that far. But we understand he did not want to give them the license and registration and proof of insurance, because once he would have given them the license, they would have found out, which they did, that he was driving on a suspended license and he had some weed in his pocket. That's just not a good look. It's not a good look. So that's why you decided not to get him the stuff. You didn't have it, because if your license was up to date, even if you had the weed in your pocket, you probably still would have given it up. You know what I'm saying? So what is your biggest issue as a voter? One of my biggest issues as a voter was the border. That's one of the main reasons why I voted for Trump. I wanted the border to be more secure. A lot of people don't understand this for whatever reason. They have done studies, several studies since the 70s that have shown the effects. Now, I'm not even gonna say since the 70s. I'll say since about the 80s. That shows the effect of illegal immigration on the black community. So for whatever reason, if you ever listen to the news, they never speak about the impact that illegal immigration does to the black community. They only speak of it as, well, you know, these immigrants, they come to the United States of America. And it's not the fault of the illegal immigrants. I'm not saying it's their fault. It's more the politicians' fault for allowing them to come in. So that's why I blame Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for allowing all these people to come in. But yeah, the argument they use all the time is what? Okay, well, the illegal immigrants contribute to the United States. They pay a lot in taxes. They work the jobs that other people don't want to do. Okay, number one, that's the argument they use. But I always ask people this question. I said, well, look, I'm a black person in the United States of America. Can you please tell me how illegal immigration helps the black community? And you never can get an answer. Ask anybody that when they start saying we need to allow these illegal immigrants in, just ask that question. Okay, well, how does that help the black community? What does that do? Because a lot of times in these sanctuary cities, these are democratic cities. Black people stay in those cities. And a lot of times they're straining resources because there's too many people in that area. So now you're competing for housing, you're competing for jobs, resources. Let's look at Chicago, for instance. Chicago is a democratic stronghold. They are a sanctuary city. A lot of the black people have been going at it with the mayor. The mayor of Chicago forced a lot of those black people to vote red because they were tired of the illegal immigrants coming into their community. Now you might say, well, Rich, that sounds racist as hell. Hell nah. You had these people who lived in the south side and the west side of Chicago had been complaining because schools in their communities were being closed down for whatever reason. They were closing down rec centers. They were closing down schools. And they have been asking for the schools to be reopened, to put the kids in the schools, to start after school programs. And then what happened? They didn't do it. But when the illegal immigrants came into Chicago in the south side and the west side, they began to open up these schools and open up these rec centers to be able to house the illegal immigrants. Now you have to explain that to the black folks. How are they supposed to feel? No one can ever give me an answer about that. For whatever reason, they choose to ignore it. And there's data, there's studies, there's data that shows that illegal immigration does not help poor black communities at all. So that's one issue I had. You already know, Alex. You already know. Build a wall. So what about Epstein? So Trump need to get the files released. It really know what about. So we understand Joe Biden didn't release the Epstein files because of what? What was the reason? Because they were still sealed by the courts. So this is kind of the same issue that's going on with Trump. The documents are currently sealed by the courts because they're trying to figure out an easier way to release the information so they're not impacting anybody's personal lives, like the children who have been assaulted. You get what I'm saying? They don't want to reveal their names, so they're trying to do this in a strategic way, so you're not putting people's lives in danger. That's really what a lot of this is about. That's why they're not just releasing it all. That's why a lot of the documents are still sealed. So as they get these court documents unsealed, we'll see what's going on. Right now, it's stories out there saying that Trump name could be on the list. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We won't know until we can see some official documentation. Now we do know that Trump's name is on the flight log, but the flight log don't say nothing. You say you took a flight there. We need to see proof, evidence that Trump, anybody, has done something at Epstein Island. I haven't seen it yet. The illegal immigrants take care of the black. That's not really true. Because you gotta remember now. So when I say in a poor black community like somewhere in Chicago, a lot of them live in project housing. So projects don't have lawns. That's like an apartment building. So how does that benefit the black community? Somebody cutting their grass does not benefit the black community. When you're straining resources, when you're closing schools, but then you open them to house other people, when you should have opened the school in the neighborhood to keep the black students enrolled so they can have things to do. So that's the issue that they've been arguing. Like if you look up this woman's name, her name is Danielle Carter. She's a black woman. She voted for Trump. She voted for red. She voted red. She's trying to get their Democratic mayor. They're trying to get him up out of the office because they feel like he's done a terrible job. I haven't seen a study alive that shows that illegal immigration helps benefit the poor black community. I haven't seen that at all. Because what ends up happening is a lot of these working class and poor black communities, they can't compete for the jobs like the illegal immigrants can, because a lot of these illegal immigrants, they're going to take whatever pay necessary because that's still more than what they're getting in their country. And on top of that, a lot of these illegal immigrants, they're not in the capacity to complain about anything because they're not trying to get deported. So if you want to pay them under the table a less amount of money, shit, they're going to take it. They're going to take it, take care of their family, send money back home to wherever they're from. How does that help the poor black community? A poor black person who's trying to work a low-skilled job cannot compete with an illegal immigrant who's willing to take damn near pennies for work. Instead of going after the illegal immigrants, they should pay the black people. That's simple. That's a simple answer every time. But when I ask somebody, how does illegal immigration help the poor black community, it never gets answered. It never. When you go pick the fields, that's not my job. So when I was a kid, we had gardens. We would be in the fields. I picked cotton. I picked fruit. I picked vegetables. I picked pecans. I did all that. I'm from rural Alabama. I've done all of that. But the place where I'm from, it has been overrun by a lot of these illegal immigrants that have come into the United States. Because we have a chicken factory out there, they're choosing to hire the illegal immigrants instead of the people that live in the community. So that doesn't do them a favor. You get what I'm saying? That really hurt the community. So once again, it's not that the illegal immigrants are doing something wrong. It's the people in charge. Alejandro Mayorkas, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. These are the people who allowed this to happen. They're allowing a record number to come in. So if you have these illegal immigrants competing, you're in the black community competing with low-skilled jobs with black Americans. Now you're taking the jobs, not taking, but they're giving you the jobs. What does that do? That still increases crime. That's not one of the reasons crime increased. I mean, that's not the only reason. It's just one of them. uh, increase of crime because it's a lack of jobs, increase in incarceration because it's a lack of jobs, low marriage rates because it's a lack of jobs. You have the illegal immigrants getting jobs, and a lot of people don't really want to get married or have kids because their finances aren't correct. So a lot of times it leads strictly to crime. They've done the studies on this. You can go to Project 21 and look it up. They've done countless studies that show that illegal immigration, there was never a positive impact on the black communities. So that doesn't make sense. You don't like cheap groceries. You do like cheap groceries, but that's not really due to illegal immigration. So like a lot of times, especially when Joe Biden was in office, groceries weren't cheap because of inflation. Gas was through the roof. It didn't have nothing to do with the illegal immigrants are still here and the groceries were still high. So it just depends. I don't need to work the chicken factory because it's not my job. If I was trying to get, you gotta, who is this? Wilfredo. You gotta listen to what I'm saying. So if I'm someone who works that job, as you can see, like I don't have to work in a chicken house, a chicken plant. That's not the job that I'm working for, that I'm trying to get. But the people that are trying to get those jobs, they're not able to get them. Have you ever heard of the EEOC? Have you ever heard of that? Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So that was something that Martin Luther King, John Lewis, a lot of our black ancestors fought for. And they've done studies and they've had court cases, especially out here in Georgia, where a lot of black people were being fired so they could hire Hispanic people. A lot of Hispanic people were being put in positions and they were refusing to hire black folks. They were only hiring Hispanic people and they were being sued by the EEOC. So that's what's happening. So could you blame the illegal immigrants? I can't blame them from coming to the United States, but I can blame the officials who allowed it to happen, which is why I didn't vote for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, because this is what they continued to do. Joe Biden allowed Ukraine to be attacked, which disrupted the supply chains, which caused gas to get higher. So since gas was higher, energy was higher, groceries were higher. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. That's how it works. Which job do you want that an illegal took? You still asking crazy questions. Black people are late to work. I mean, that's just being racist. Them all back into the hands. I don't know what you're saying. Slow the hell down. You're jumping around. These are all complicated topics you need to think through. They are complicated topics, but this stuff is just easy to be spoken about. You know what I'm saying? So there's no good impact on the black community. But I can tell that I'm not talking to black, like without even going through y'all profile, I already know I'm not talking to black people. Like it's obvious, you know what I'm saying? Because it comes out. I can just tell by the way you're typing that none of y'all are black. Some of y'all might be, but the vast majority of y'all probably aren't black. You're probably either white or Hispanic. But whatever study you want to look at, there is no study that shows that illegal immigration benefits the poor black community the most. Go find it. You can leave this app right now. Type up, go to AI, find me an article, find me some data that says illegal immigration helps the poor black community. You're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find it. So, there's that. Which job did the illegal immigrant that they didn't? So once again, they didn't take the job. It's more so the people that are hiring them and putting them in position. So what you should do is you should go to the EEOC and look up cases where companies have been sued for not hiring black people on purpose and then hiring Hispanic people, most time undocumented immigrants. And then they have cases where black people have been fired for jobs for not speaking Spanish and they decided to go after an undocumented immigrant. So these are EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You can look that up, and then you'll be able to find it for yourself. If you're really concerned about it. Half the time, y'all don't really be concerned about it. Bro, struggle, yeah. But if you get the illegal immigrants out the United States, then what? Now I'm gonna just say, like, struggle until it's time to get the illegal immigrants out the United States, and then nobody's saying that no more. So it's just, you can tell they're not black from that. Yeah, it's obvious. I can, as a black, but this is the good part about being black. Like, you can always tell. Like, I could just go through the comments. I don't have to click. Everybody can come from a faceless profile, and I can be like, okay, this person obviously is not black. Okay, this person right here, yeah, they not black. They wouldn't be talking like that. You know how black people speak. Again, you would have to find me some document, actual peer-reviewed study that shows that illegal immigration has benefited the poor black community in a positive way. You will have to find. I have yet to see one. People have been arguing this since the 80s, especially out there in Florida. They've had several cases out here in Georgia. So that was one of the reasons why I voted for Donald Trump to, you know, lessen the load, get a lot of these illegal immigrants up out the United States? Has he gone about it the proper way? I feel like it's really no proper way to go about it, because, like I said, when Donald, when Joe, not Joe Biden, when Barack Obama deported illegal immigrants, people were still upset. People have revisionist history, but all you gotta do is just go look it up, and they said the same thing. They call him. They used to nickname Barack the deporter in chief. He created the cages that he placed the children in. They said that Barack Obama was scaring the immigrant community. They were protesting Barack. Some people showed up to the White House to protest. Certain people went on hunger strikes. So why would you go on a hunger strike for a president who's deporting people the nice way? It just doesn't make sense. What you call a black man on a bike stolen? I mean, I guess. That's like me saying, like, what you call a Mexican at the border, an illegal immigrant? The fuck? Like, that's a corny joke. But that's probably one of them Mexicans who mad. Like I told y'all, y'all want to see if you ever want to see a Mexican that gets mad, just tell them they can't say nigga. As soon as you tell them that, they upset. But for instance, I'll show y'all right now. In December 2012, Hamilton Growers Incorporated. This is from the EEOC. In December 2012, Hamilton Growers Incorporated, doing business at Southern Valley Fruit and Vegetable Inc., an agricultural farm in Norman Park, Georgia, agreed to pay $500,000 to a class of American seasonal workers, many of them African American, who the EEOC alleged were subjected to discrimination based on their national origin and/or race. The agency announced today. The agreement resolves a lawsuit filed by the EEOC in September 2011. The EEOC suit had charged that the company unlawfully engaged in a pattern of practice of discrimination against American workers by firing virtually all American workers while retaining workers from Mexico during the 2009, 2010, and 2011 growing seasons. The agency also alleged that Hamilton Growers fired at least 16 black workers in 2009 based on race and/or national origin, as their termination was coupled with race-based comments by a management official. Clear as day. You know what I'm saying? Clear as day. In September 2012, remember, this is all, if you never heard of the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, you should thank black people for that. Because Martin Luther King, John Lewis, a lot of them, they walked and protested so we will be able to have this, so you could defend your civil rights in the workplace. But let's just get back to it. So in September 2012, an Indianapolis hotel agreed to pay $355,000 to settle a job discrimination case with the EEOC. The Hampton Inn is accused of firing black housekeepers because of their race and retaliating against those who had complained. According to the EEOC, the general manager of the Hampton Inn Hotel advised her employees that she wanted to get Mexicans in who could clean better and complain less than her black housekeeping staff, even if the Hispanic hires were equally or less qualified than black candidates. This is the EEOC versus New Indianapolis Hotels, Inc., case number 110 CV1234. So, I mean, you could deny it. You could deny it, but we understand that it's truly happening. It's facts to back us up. So instead of hiring a black worker and paying them what they worth because they may complain about whatever's going on, you would go hire somebody who is nowhere near as skilled, who is illegal, just so you can bypass the black person. So again, these are low skilled jobs. You know what I'm saying? So now you have two races competing for low skilled jobs, but you're firing one on purpose and then hiring another. That's not lawful. According to the EEOC, that's not lawful. You know what I'm saying? So respect. I think the real question is, do the black people? So Bucky, to answer your question, if I literally read something to you that says that the Hampton Inn is accused of firing black housekeepers, that means they had the job. They wanted the job. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't fire somebody if they didn't want the job. They would never be at the job in the first place. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? Number two is the real question shouldn't be if the black people want the job. The real question, respectfully, which again shows that you're not black at all, the real question should be, why are these corporations hiring illegal immigrants instead of the people, the American citizens? Why? So you can cut corners and save more money? Well, I thought y'all hated the rich billionaires. So you can't compete with someone that can't speak English. I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds crazy. Nobody ever said that. What are you saying? What I'm saying is, if I have a job, if I own a corporation and I say instead of hiring black people, I'm gonna hire some illegal immigrants. It ain't about what you could compete for. It's about the person that does the hiring and does the firing. Duh. Y'all ask some of the most ridiculous questions. Y'all ask the most ridiculous questions, and you will question a black person, but you won't question a person who's responsible for hiring and firing. I would never understand that. I would never understand that. But let's just move on. Hispanic foreign preference in February, and this is from the EEOC. So remember, anybody in the United States who is and I hate using this term because they like to group people together, but I'm not even gonna say it. They usually call you persons of color. If you are a person who is not a white male, the EEOC was created by black people who marched, protested, and lost their lives. Martin Luther King, John Lewis, a lot of them, Medgar Evers. This is why we have the EEOC. You have Human Resources and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This is what the EEOC says. So you should be thanking a lot of black folks for this. In February 2020, a Texas-based fiberglass conduit and strut manufacturer implemented extensive hiring reforms and paid $225,000 to settle allegations by the EEOC that it refused to hire non-Hispanic individuals as laborers. A black non-Hispanic man told the EEOC that the company refused to provide him with a job application after it learned he couldn't speak Spanish. The EEOC sued on behalf of an entire class of non-Hispanic job applicants who were allegedly negatively affected by Champion Fiberglass's hiring approach dating back to at least 2013. According to the consent decree, these policies and practices have resulted in a labor workforce that is almost 100% Hispanic. So that means a lot of black people are losing jobs. Now, am I saying the Hispanic people are doing something wrong? Once again, I could never blame them. You have to blame the people who allowed them to come into the United States, and blame the corporations who decide to cut corners and impact black people negatively. Once again, illegal immigration does not impact the black community in a positive way. I haven't seen a study that shows it yet. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So what you're saying is the Spanish speaking was a qualification and the black gentleman lacked that skill. So according to Wilfredo, that allows that person to not get hired. Well, according to the court documents, I have to go off the court who makes the law, who interprets the law and make decisions. Not a random motherfucker on YouTube. The court said that the job was wrong. Let me read this one more time. In February 2020, a Texas-based fiberglass conduit and strut manufacturer implemented extensive hiring reforms. So that means they had to change their hiring process and paid $225,000 to settle allegations by the EEOC that it refused to hire non-Hispanic individuals as laborers. A black non-Hispanic man told the EEOC that the company refused to provide him with a job application after it learned he couldn't speak Spanish. So according to Wilfredo, he shouldn't have gotten a job application because the requirement was he needed to speak Spanish in order to get the job. That's what this random motherfucker on YouTube is saying. But according to the people who interpret the law, who makes the decision, the court said that was wrong. So who should I listen to? A random motherfucker on YouTube flapping his gums, or should I listen to the court? I'm going to listen to the court who made the ruling that they had to pay $225,000 because they were not hiring black people, or they had improper hiring practices. That's like you hiring an illegal immigrant and you say, well, you have to speak English. Sometimes you do, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. In September 2016, I'm getting all this from the EEOC. Remember, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This is where I'm getting this from. In September 2016, and before I read this, y'all need to stop debating against the facts. That's the funny part. You'll sit up here and debate against facts. I'm not giving you no opinion. I'm giving you documented evidence. I'm giving y'all documented evidence. So this is from the EEOC. In September 2016, a Resource Employment Solutions LLC, excuse me, let me say that again. In September 2016, Resource Employment Solutions LLC, a temporary staffing agency, will pay $435,000 to settle a race and national origin discrimination lawsuit brought by the EEOC. The commission claimed that the company illegally granted placement preferences to Hispanic temps over African American temps. Specifically, the company allegedly violated federal law by failing to place a class of African American workers into temporary shipping positions at a FedEx Smart Post location in South Haven, Mississippi. Instead, the staffing agency granted placement preferences to Hispanic workers and also retaliated against against an African American employee who complained of the discrimination by refusing to place her and denying her a promotion. The 4-year consent decree also includes provisions requiring anti-discrimination training, reporting, and postings. So for anybody out there who feels like I'm lying, look up EEOC versus Resource Employment Solutions LLC and go read the case. So I'm giving y'all multiple cases. I'm giving you multiple cases. I'm giving, and once again, like Bucky said, dude, these are cherry pick cases. So you telling me this didn't happen? This is why this is why black people have problems talking to other people that's not black. What do you mean this is a cherry pick case? No, these are cases where black people had to sue. These ain't cherry picked. I just gave you 5 cases. You see what I'm saying? And you say you're a Native American. That's like me saying I'm glad that your people, that the white people came and did y'all dirty. That don't make sense. You sound crazy. But let's go back. It says right here, in California's largest race-biased cases, Latino workers are accused of abusing black colleagues. So if you talk to any black person who, has a Latino manager, they usually have issues with them. From my understanding, I don't see what the issue of listing the facts are. A lot of people get upset because of the facts. Anytime a black person can present actual evidence to back up what they're saying, folks get upset, and I don't understand it. I'm supposed to be a dumbass rapper, but obviously a lot of y'all are just dumbasses. Probably Bucky, whatever your name is. You have to be one of those. I could pull up countless cases. I could pull up 50 cases right now that shows that black people have been discriminated against in favor of undocumented immigrants. And you still gonna come up here and run your mouth and say, "Oh, these are cherry pick cases." Man, shut the fuck up. You have no clue what you're talking about. I could go all day. It doesn't matter. I gave you 5 different cases, and you still making excuses. But that's what people do. They tend to make up excuses when black people come with actual evidence. I've learned this over time. I've been black my whole life. You a Native American, so I don't know. You probably one of them $2 Indians. You feel me? Like, you probably not even Native. You probably one of them white boys who talking about they a Native American. You ain't no real Native. Shut your ass up. Y'all sound crazy. Y'all sound crazy. What them Latinos are considered people. I'm not a person of color. I'm black. That's some nonsense that the government make up to group everybody together. A lot of them Latinos, and I got some Latino homies, but we just say it like this: if in the United States, if you're not a white man, the only reason you in the United States is because of black people. Read it and weep. If you Mexican, if you Asian, if you Hispanic, Asian, Indian, whatever, you can only enter the United States of America because black people had to go through slavery. That is a fact. What you think birthright citizenship is? What you think birthright citizenship is? That allows a lot of these illegal immigrants to come to the United States. Everybody knows this, but everybody also knows that the birthright citizenship was meant for black people only. Everyone knows this. Everybody knows this. And this is the part where it makes me upset. I'm glad I'm not on TikTok, because TikTok would ban me for talking like this. But everybody knows the 13th Amendment ended slavery. The 14th Amendment gave the descendants of slave children, the descendants of slaves, it gave them the ability to be citizens. And the 15th Amendment gave us the right to vote. Those are called Reconstruction Amendments for a reason. It was to answer the question of slavery. So even though a lot of people hate Trump, you can hate Trump. I can give a fuck if you hate Trump. I hate most politicians. But when Trump said that the 14th Amendment was meant for the descendants of black babies, of the babies of slaves, he was correct. Because when they originally wrote the 14th Amendment, the United States did not have an illegal immigration problem. They were answering the question of slavery. That's all that was about. That's all that was about. That's all that was about. You know what I'm saying? That's all that was about. It wasn't so a legal immigrant could come in and have a child at the border and say I'm an American citizen. You have to look at the context of what just like in the Constitution, it said all men are created equal. That doesn't mean women. That don't mean women not created equal. Men as in humankind. But when the 14th Amendment was written, I'm gonna say this one more time. I don't care what argument y'all give me. When the 14th Amendment was originally written, it was written to answer the question of American slavery. That's all it was about. It was not for illegal immigration. It was about none of that. They said this several times. They, as in even the judges, when the judges were writing, when the politicians were coming up with the laws, that was what it was for. It was about nobody else, only black people. So Anybody that's not black that's able to come to the United States, you should thank black people for going through slavery. You should thank you should thank Martin Luther King, John Lewis, and all them for walking and protesting and being able to get us the EEOC so you could defend yourself when you're being when your employer is being racist towards you. You should thank black folks for that, because you wouldn't be able to be here if it wasn't for us. If they never came with a birthright citizenship, none of you niggas would be able to come in here. That's a fact. Everybody know that. But for whatever reason, when you tell people that, they get upset, they get in their feelings, they get to typing on YouTube and get to typing on TikTok extra fast. It's just the reality of the situation. I know you hate to hear it, but the truth is the truth. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with telling the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. I could. That's like me saying, like, okay, in the hood, black people don't kill each other a lot. That's the truth. I don't have no reason to be offended about that. You know what I'm saying? I have no reason to be offended about that. It's the truth. Just like white people shoot up schools. It's the truth. So why when somebody say, well, hey, if you are a person that's not white and you in the United States, you should thank black folks. Why is that? Why you get so upset about that? It's the truth. I know the truth hurts. Slavery didn't end 150 years ago. Slavery still exists today. The 13th Amendment says slavery is banned except if you go to prison. So anybody that goes to prison is considered a slave. They still use slave labor in Alabama. So to say slavery ended 150 years ago, that'd be a bold-faced lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I done made Wilfredo mad. He got to type, he or she, they, whatever the fuck he is. Now he typing extra fast. Because you mad I'm telling the truth. Slavery never ended. 13th Amendment says slavery is illegal except when you go to prison. They had something called, you know what convict leasing was? Convict leasing didn't end until after WW2. That was slavery. That was another form of slavery. So what you mean slavery ended 150 years ago? Man, you need to learn your history. It's obvious you don't know your black history, my dog. You need to go pick up a book and read. You have no clue what you're talking about. You just upset because I'm telling you the truth. The facts hurt people. I understand. I understand. It's all good. I understand. The truth hurts. Yes, birthright citizenship applies to me. My people were able to become citizens of the United States because they were slaves here in the United States, number one. Number two, they fought in the Civil War. Number three, we got birthright citizenship. And for the person that say we should thank Whitey should thank us. Because everybody know that when America was founded, white people used to enslave Native Americans and they used to enslave the Irish people. But the Native Americans and the Irish people were too weak. They kept dying off. So what did they do? When they got black slaves, the black Africans, they were tough. They were strong. We were able to survive. So we were able to help build the United States and have to die at high rates. A lot of these other races were dying. They couldn't handle that. The Irish people couldn't handle that shit. They was dying. The Native Americans, they were dying off. When they went and got the black people from Africa, they were surviving. I'm not saying that none of them died, but based off of what I read, most of them were tough and were surviving. That's why they kept going back to Africa. They found out that the Irish people was too weak. They couldn't handle it. I'm just saying. Hey, make sure y'all subscribe to my page. I go live on YouTube all the time. I used to go live on TikTok, but when you start talking like this, TikTok will literally ban you. There's certain words you can't say on TikTok. I fuck with YouTube. But like I said, I'm supposed to be the dumbass rapper who knows nothing. But I'm going to keep telling y'all, 14th Amendment, when it was originally written, it was written for who? It wasn't written for no Irish people. It was not written for a Mexican. It was not written for an Asian. It was written to answer the question of slavery. Context matters. Who sold the black Africans to Africa? Duh, everybody know that. That's not that. Listen, when somebody say that dumbass shit, well, who sold them to the white man? Like, we know how it works. Sometimes white men would come to Africa and they would steal them. Sometimes they would trade for them. Sometimes they would buy them, and sometimes they would try to steal them and they would get their ass killed. I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation. Go look it up. Sometimes some of them white men, they were scared to go in Africa. They said a lot of them warriors was too fish for them. They said this. So yes, sometimes black people would go raid. They would raid other tribes and sell them and or trade them with whitey. Yes, that is a fact. Sometimes the white man would come and steal them. That is a fact. Sometimes the white man would come to Africa and get his ass whooped. And that's just the fact. They didn't just come in there and just straight win every single time. Fuck no. Some of them would get their head cut off, all type of shit. Like, I'm speaking real life. I can't say this on TikTok because TikTok would have banned me, but hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why he wasn't just walking up in there just big and bad ain't happen like that. Now, sometimes y'all need to go read. Some of them was scared. A lot of the white people that came to Africa, some of them were scared. They even said themselves, man, we got to get the fuck up out of here. We can't survive these jungles. We can't survive this heat. We can't survive these mosquitoes. They said this shit. Like, I read. So I'm just saying, like, so when somebody say, like, well, black people sold other black people, okay. Native Americans did the same thing. White people sold each other too. Remember, the first slaves in the United States were Irish people. That's white. I'm just saying. I get it. Y'all mad at black people, so you like to get your racist nonsense off. I mean, I'm happy for you. I went to private school. None of you niggas could out-joke me in real life. I ain't no cap. I went to a public school. None of you niggas could out-joke me in real life. It don't even matter. So your little corny joke, that shit ain't nothing. Y'all was slaves too. So if a white person want to get up here and talk crazy, y'all fuck animals. I can say this shit on YouTube, because they're on TikTok, they be there ban my ass. Per capita, y'all fuck animals the most. Per capita, y'all touch children the most. I'm just saying. Per capita, of course. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, slavery goes on in Africa and it goes on in the United States. I'm gonna keep telling y'all, slavery did not end in the United States according to the 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment says clear as day, slavery is legal. If your ass go to prison, you are a slave. So I don't know what y'all talking about. I really don't. I don't get it. I know y'all mad because I'm telling the truth, but yeah, slavery never ended. They use slave labor all the time. Have y'all not seen what's going on in the state of Alabama? Do you not know in Alabama they have people that are on probation? They have people that are still in jail. When they get out of jail, they gotta go work at like Arby's and McDonald's and Waffle House, and they don't get paid. And when they leave the shift, they gotta go right back to prison. That's called slavery. Like slavery didn't end. Let me pull up 13th Amendment. Let me just see. I could be wrong. 150 years ago, go suck a dick. Because 150 years ago, go suck a dick. Because no, it didn't. The 13th Amendment says clear as day, the moment your ass go to prison, you are a slave. It didn't end. Slavery didn't end in Africa, and it did not end in the United States. It ain't sex trafficking is slavery. So as long as a country has sex trafficking, slavery is not gone. You know what I'm saying? It's still here to stay. I don't know what y'all be talking about. Y'all living in La La Land. What up, Fruitful Pal? You living in La La Land if you think slavery ended. I worked when I was in jail in Florida. You got extra days off for your time. It depends on what state you are. What state you in. California had that same thing too. So a lot of times in California, they will allow the convicts to be able to get time off if they want to fight the wildfires, which is still like a form of slavery. Because you gotta remember, the moment you go to prison, you belong to the state. The state owns you. You know what I'm saying? So that's slavery right there. They tell you what to do. And then for anybody who don't believe me, I mean, you can look this up. You can just type, does slavery still exist in the United States? And they're gonna show you how majority of the slavery occurs down south and like sometimes in the Midwest. So yes, it does. It's still around. For anybody who think it's not. But anyway, y'all, it's 8 o'clock. I got some wrestling to watch. So look, make sure everybody, yeah, they still are selling people in Libya. Make sure y'all subscribe to my page. Go watch my videos. Go stream my music. Go do all that. I'll probably go back live tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. We still gonna be talking about some more real shit, but I'll holler at y'all.